The rainy or wet season is the time of the year when most average rainfall in a region occurs. It is a period, according to experts, when air and fresh water quality improves and vegetation grows significantly, leading to crop yields late in the season. One of the challenges of the rainy season is flooding. This can occur due to several reasons, including heavy and intense rainfall. Rain can cause river flood and flood in cities. As it rains heavily and continuously, the water level in a river or region starts to rise and goes over the edge, leading to flood in urbanized towns, for instance. A flood can also occur due to heavy rainfall in an area where the land has been covered with concrete and there is very little soil land left to soak the water, which leads to soil saturation and consequently flood. Poor drainage channels can also worsen the situation.
And whatever it takes to put good drainage in place, it must be done. There is absolutely no excuse or justification for somebody blocking a drain or building a house on a drain. For God's sake, people's lives and property are at stake here. Drainage must be a priority now.
There are two types of floods: a regular river and flash floods. A flash flood is dangerous, powerful enough to sweep off vehicles, level buildings, and drag bridges out of their piers. Typically, it is caused by sudden excessive rainfalls that sends rivers, streams, or other bodies of water rapidly out of their banks. It often occurs in a short amount of time, and most frightening is the rapidity with which the water rises. Sunday, 10th of July, residents of Lagos experienced the harsh effect of flash floods as a result of a downpour which many describe as the heaviest in recent times.
I was born and bred in Lagos and I've been around for quite a while, and yesterday's rain was the heaviest we've seen. It was very intense. There was a lot of water falling in a very short period of time.
So when it started on a low pace in the morning, around to 9, but gradually it started increasing. Then we have no alternative. We are watching. Suddenly it has to enter the house. We are unable to retrieve any of our property, then to abandon the house and go out. Even that night, almost all the tenants sleep in parked vehicles outside, or some people go to other houses to sleep. Nobody among us was able to sleep in the house.
It was tales of woe as the downpour left in its wake havocs that paralyzed the social, commercial, and religious activities that were the hallmark of the bustling megacity.
I've been here since 12 o'clock and see the time is around 5 o'clock now.
A lot of people, a lot of students, they did not go to school. A lot of people did not go to work. A lot of family are there. Look at their loads outside.
The rain was certainly no respecter of sirens, as government officials and eminent Nigerians who would normally maneuver their ways through the Lagos traffic with the use of sirens had no option than to join other vehicles as they tried to slowly wade through the flood. Variety of jeeps also gave way to others, while smaller vehicles and motorcycles were more vulnerable. Trust the business acumen of Lagosians, the downpour and flood provided opportunity for some people to capitalize on the situation.
They used how to make a lot of money today. They collected 1,000 for me to pay me to push my motor from the flood.
The state government, in a bid to combat the adverse impact of the downpour and flood, took some urgent steps, such as excavation of blocked drainage channels, expansion and creation of existing and new ones, in addition to demolition of structures built on drainages. That notwithstanding, many Lagosians still believe there is still more to be done.
Let me use this opportunity that those who are in buildings that we have marked as structurally unstable, or those buildings that we have designated as lying on canal path, should immediately begin to look for alternative sources, because we are coming down to take possession of it. We are not going to take any risk with human lives anymore.
The major thing I think the governor should focus on is assessing the canal.
We're having a problem with the immediate connecting basin. EL that discharge water to the canal. And those basins, if they are not okay, if they are not true, they are not thorough to the canal, we're still going to be having the same problem. That's it.
Earlier in the year, however, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency had forecasted and warned that Lagos State and other parts of the country should expect heavy rains and prepare for associated consequences.
Immediately receiving the information from NIMET about the weather prediction, we carried out early warning sensitization. We have sent letters to all district government giving them early warning about this flooding.
Investigations also revealed that poor drainage channels did not help matters, as it exacerbated the flooding and made it linger a lot longer than usual.
There are a lot of lagoon here, but they never carried the gutters into lagoon.
What I may call the major cause is due to the non-package of the drainage. Sometimes we residents, we do it on our own to pack the sand. But whenever it rains again, the flood bring the sand again.
Climate scientists all around the world have hammered repeatedly about the impact of climate change. They have also warned that flooding and heavy rains should be expected.
What we're looking at in Africa, there's no doubt, is that temperatures over Africa are going to increase steadily. Clearly this depends on the amount of emissions that are going to occur into the atmosphere into the future. But temperatures could increase 1, 2, perhaps 3 degrees through the next century. The impact of that is that you could have changes in ranges of crops, of diseases. Some areas may become more difficult to live in because they become too hot. But then on top of that, we've got the possible changes in rainfall. And while we can be fairly confident in saying, yes, there's going to be 1, 2, 3 degrees increase in rainfall, the changes in temperature, the changes in rainfall are more difficult to ascribe. There's certainly going to be areas in Africa where the rainfall is going to increase. There are going to be other areas where the rainfall is going to decrease. The intensity of flooding and droughts will also increase, and the frequency will increase in time. Now, when you've got an increase in temperature and you've got a change in rainfall, that can have substantial effects on water availability, on health, on agricultural production, on the economic activities that can take place in an area.
Environmentalists say the heavy rains in Lagos is a classic climate change scenario.
The Earth atmosphere is a very thin layer covering the Earth. This thin layer of gases is important. That layer allows sun rays come into the Earth, and some of the rays are also reflected back. Some are trapped in order to warm the Earth. This process of rays coming in and out of the Earth atmosphere exchanges heat between the sunlight and the Earth, warms up the Earth and makes it livable for you and me. It also triggers off other activities, because as the surface of the ocean warms up, causes winds to move, and that determines the climate, where rain falls, where rain doesn't fall through the seasons. However, because of our lifestyles, we are slowly thickening that layer of gas with greenhouse gases. And because of this thickening, the sun rays that come in, a lot of them get trapped. And these sun rays, which are trapped within the Earth atmosphere, causes the temperature of the Earth to rise significantly above what is comfortable for us. And this is global warming. Global warming comes with problems. We said earlier that warming the surface of the ocean causes winds to blow, but when the surface of the ocean becomes too hot, the winds can be fast, and then we have hurricanes. The distribution of rain will therefore be affected, such that some areas have too much rain, while some areas don't have at all.
If predictions of climate scientists are anything to go by, there is a high probability of more of such heavy rains in the days ahead, a situation which calls for urgent and prompt attention.
When we talk about climate change, is global.